Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of the 1985 movie Day of the Dead. Now, okay, I'll start right at the beginning. Night of the Living Dead, big hit back in 1968, but George Romero didn't have the rights to the title Living Dead. He couldn't put Living Dead in the title of a film again. So, for that reason, that's why Dawn of the Dead is just Dawn of the Dead. No mention of Living Dead. And then in 1985, that's when Day of the Dead came out. But in the same year, there were some other zombie films. I guess because zombie films were cool again, that was the thing to do, yeah. And there was a film called Return of the Living Dead. Presumably the company that bought the rights to that Living Dead. It's technically it's nothing to do with the George A. Romero saga. Yeah, it's just another zombie film released. Of all the years they chose to release it the same year as Day of the Dead. Well, to make the belief was if everyone's into zombie films, yeah, the timing is right. In the same year, 1985, that's when Reanimated came out. That's very similar to zombies. Yeah, it's about bringing dead things back to life. Or, if you like, Weird Science. That's about getting dead matter and turning it into a living being. Yeah. So zombies were super cool. Now, Day of the Dead, it was it didn't do well. It was a bit of a flop when it was brand new, but it has gained a subcult following over the years. It's quite well known now, yeah. And why is it called Day of the Dead? It doesn't clearly specify in the film. Well, you make up your own mind. From what I can make out, two reasons why it's called Day of the Dead. Reason number one, if that expression, every dog has his day. If you say, I've won, the day is mine, yeah, it means you have the upper hand, you have the advantage. If the day is yours, you have the advantage, yeah. And it's Day of the Dead because the zombies have the advantage. They've multiplied in much, much bigger numbers. There's millions of them now, yeah. They're a national threat or possibly a global threat, yeah. And the other reason it's called that is because the first one, Night of the Living Dead, what follows night? Dawn, Dawn of the Dead. What follows the dawn? The day, Day of the Dead, yeah. And yes, George A. Romero was asked this question, is Dawn of the Dead a sequel to the first one, or is it a reboot, a reimagining? In the same way as Day of the Dead, is it a reboot or a reimagining? Because they're all totally different characters. And George A. Romero won't clearly specify. He says, you just make up your own mind, yeah. And, and apparently I assumed, even though there were no survivors at the end of the first film, there were two survivors at the end of the second one, but they're not in the third one because their story is finished, over. We've moved on to different characters sorting out the zombie problem. I assume that's what the director envisioned, but then later I found out no, it's because for some technical reason, George A. Romero, he was allowed to make another zombie film, but he didn't have the rights to the characters in Dawn of the Dead. Oh, so he didn't have any choice. He had to have new characters, yeah. Excuse me. It's a hot day. Yeah. Anyway, so how is Day of the Dead different to the others? Well, 1 and 2 has the average Joe, regular people trying to cope with a crisis. And the third one, no, it's not regular people. It's the military and scientists that work for the military. People that they're trained to help in a crisis, to rebuild society and everything. But sadly, they're not doing that good a job. If anything, the characters in the shopping mall were doing a better job. Yeah. Oh, yes, and we've evolved. We see state-of-the-art special effects, if a bit grueling. Yeah, lots of blood and guts everywhere, yeah. The first one, quite primitive effects. The second one, big improvement on the zombie effects. And the third one, a massive improvement on the special effects. Plus, this was on a much bigger budget. Oh, something crazy like about $8 million. So yes, we really see the money being spent. We have an expensive location, Miami. Yes, the opening sequence, that really is Miami. They filmed there, yeah. And as the zombies stagger and scuttle and walk in an awkward way, an alligator walks past them, but they're completely indifferent. They don't fear anything. So you know they're not human by that. Yes, they don't react the way humans would react. There's loads of money out of a bank, flying in the air, floating in the wind. Money is useless to zombies, or actually come to think of it, it's useless to humans at this point as well, yeah. So you know they're zombies, not just because their faces look like rotting flesh, but because of the way they behave, yeah. Anyway, the lead character's in a helicopter. They stop Miami or one of the streets of Miami, big megaphone said, anyone alive out there? Anyone we can rescue, And they're like, no, sadly, that's not an option. No, there's no people out there at all. They get in the helicopters. I mean, there's footage of the Okefenokee swamp, yeah, the Everglades, it's all for real, yeah. And so, yes, really showing off the big budget and that this problem is on a really big scale, yeah. However, when they fly and land in like a fenced-off area and the helicopter's landed, then the people get in an elevator. Technically, there's two elevators, but they get in the really big one that goes down into an underground base of caves and caverns and everything. I assume they built a big set for the underground caves. No, that's for real. That really is a big limestone mine, yeah, in Pittsburgh. Okay, so in the story, the underground mines that are in Florida, but in real life it was filmed in Pittsburgh. Anyway, they get there, they don't know what to do, what we can do about this dilemma of the zombies, yeah. And something else that makes this one a bit different to the other ones, they may be the only humans left on the planet. There's no evidence that other humans exist. We don't see any on live TV, we don't hear any messages from radios, nothing. We may be the last humans alive, quite literally, yeah. So something must be done. So Commander Rhodes, who's very vicious and aggressive, even for a military commander, he says, let's just kill the lot of them, kill all of them, yeah. And the scientist called Dr. Logan, when they're at a meeting, he says, we don't have enough ammunition to kill the lot of them. That plan won't work. Well, we'll go somewhere else where we can live. Where will you go? They're everywhere, all over the world. How can you find anywhere to go? Yeah. Now, Dr. Logan, whose nickname is Frankenstein, and the actor that played him, he was in The Crazies. That was also directed by George A. Romero. Anyway, Dr. Logan, his plan is to domesticate the zombies, make them behave themselves, make them less aggressive, so they don't see us as things to eat. They see us as our friends, yeah. And most of the experiments have ended in vain. And there's one bit where of one zombie, all these guts spill out. Yeah, they actually show it. It's totally disgusting. But yes, impressive special effects. That one's about to escape, so he's drilled in the head, so he's dead, his brain's killed. Oh, and later in the story, we see one zombie, he's killed with a spade that slices through his mouth, half his head is sliced off. And then later we, the audience, see half a head with its eyes still moving. Oh, so he's still alive because his brain is still intact. Oh, dear me. Anyway, then at last we see some results. Dr. Logan has one zombie who's chained up called Bub, short for Bubba, tough guy. Anyway, Bub used to be a Marine, and when he sees another military man, he salutes him like that. So he has some memory of when he used to be human, yeah. I mean, he's given some objects to look at, a book, a razor and a toothbrush, and he starts imitating what he used to be like with his toothbrush and all that. And he puts a gun that doesn't have any bullets in it, but he clicks it like that. Yeah, he can remember how to use one, yeah. And then he listens to the music on the Walkman. So in other words, yes, he's reenacting how he used to be as a human. So there is some hope, yeah. Rhodes is not impressed, and he says, if I don't see some results soon, we just go out there and kill the lot of these things, yeah. But they're caught between a rock and a hard place. Oh, good pun that, because there's all the rocks, rock and hard place. What can you do? You can't go anywhere. You don't have enough bullets to kill the things. The other option seems to be to try and train the zombies, make them less aggressive, yeah. But in a situation like that, there is no right or wrong. It's a matter of opinion, what you're supposed to do, yeah. And there's one bit when Sarah is... Oh, yes, I suppose I should say it. In Night of the Living Dead, we have about 3 women characters who are little more than damsels in distress. In the second one, we have a woman a bit more headstrong. Yes, she learns how to use a gun and kill some of the zombies and learns how to fly a helicopter. So she wants to be a bit more independent, yeah. In the third one, the lead character is a woman, and she's very, headstrong. She's a tough cookie. She's determined to get the job done. So yes, as the sequels progress, we see political correctness as well. We have a strong-willed woman, yeah. And Sarah looks at all the scientist results and everything, but she's like, your plan could work, but it could take years, until we get lots of these creatures doing as they're told, yeah. And... Commander Rhodes, he threatens to shoot Sarah because she wants to leave the meeting early. He's like, you can't kill me for leaving. You're raving mad, but she agrees to sit down, yeah. And we have bits of comic relief here and there to ease the tension a little bit. When their character called Steel is told to capture some zombies alive, some of them he captures in these wooden crates, the other ones he just shoots in the head. He goes, "Come over here, you dumb shit, yeah. Yeah, come on, get a load of that, yeah." He's having a blast. He's having fun with it. He sees the funny side. Okay, that's his hobby now, shooting zombies in the head, yeah. They all react differently, yeah, and some of the military men are not very nice people. Not the sort of people Sarah would choose as friends, yeah. In fact, there's one bit when Steele says, "Do I excite you? Do I get you aroused?" And she says, "You couldn't excite me unless you were an anthropological discovery." In other words, saying you're too primitive to be exciting. You're like a caveman. So, yes. Yeah. But, oh yes, and there's a bit when the bloke from Trinidad, he says, "Why don't we just get the hell out of here, get on a helicopter and go far away and live on a tropical island?" And Sarah says, "You'd do that, wouldn't you? You'd abandon mankind to save your own skin and go and live on a tropical island because you'd ignore this crisis." And he says, "Hell, I'd do that even if this crisis wasn't going on." Yeah, we haven't got much time left to live. Why don't we just soak up some sun and have some fun? Yeah. And Sarah says, at the beginning of the film, we're not there yet. We can't give up yet. Yes, saving our own skins is important, but if we can save the rest of humanity, that's worth fighting for as well. Yeah. So Sarah's looking at the big picture. We've got to do all we can for the whole of mankind. She's a scientist. Yeah. Anyway, oh yes, and we see something we haven't seen before. Miguel, one of the main characters, is bitten by one of those zombies. So Sarah and the Irishman and the Trinidad man, they chop his arm off. Then they have to use fire to stop him bleeding to death. Because they've chopped off the infected area, there's a possibility he won't turn into a zombie. But Rhodes says, "No, let me just shoot him now." And Sarah says, "No. If he turns into a zombie, I'll shoot him myself. But until then, no, don't give up. You have your rules, I have my rules," basically, yeah. Then later in the story, so Dr. Logan is teaching Bub, how civilized behaviour. And he says, civilized behaviour has to be rewarded. Otherwise, there's no point. They won't do it, yeah. So he feeds the zombie the intestines of a man that's recently died. And Rhodes comes up behind him and says, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" He goes, "You don't understand. We have to reward good behaviour. It's the only way they'll do what we want." And Rhodes, in a fit of rage, shoots him because you've just fed a human to a zombie. I thought you were supposed to be training them not to eat humans. That is going too far. Rhodes has gone too far. Yes, maybe Dr. Logan, what he did was wrong, but he deserved to be locked in a cage. He didn't deserve to be shot, yeah. But then Rhodes has just gone completely mad. He's power mad. Everyone has to do everything. If they do the slightest thing to upset me, I kill them, yeah. The military men are essential. They are vital, yeah. However, then Miguel lets a load of zombies in. Why does he let them in through the secret entrance down? I think it's because he's heard Rhodes, his plan is to take a few military men, leave Sarah and her friends to die in the caves and get lost and go away in the helicopter. So, in order to save his friends, Miguel lets zombies in to create a distraction for the military men so Sarah and the rest of his friends can get away. Not the best plan, because what the hell will stop those zombies eating his friends? Yeah, well, anyway, it works, yeah. Sarah and her friends, they go through the other elevator. Well, they have to climb a ladder to do it, yeah. And eventually, Sarah and her friends, they get to an island that's abandoned, so they're safe, or safer. And so they've given up. They've tried, but they've given up. In other words, what made the zombies how did the zombies find their way into the underground base? They didn't. It's because humans bickering and not getting along. It's humans that caused the problem, not the zombies, yeah. And then as we're almost finished, Sarah gets a calendar. She keeps track of all the days. She hasn't given up all hope. She's not going to lose track of time, yeah. So there's a tiny shimmer of hope that somehow, some way, humanity can be saved, yeah. So I like it. It has strong-willed characters. It has some laughs as well as some gore, and the determination to do all you can do your bit for mankind, yeah. And humans need to get along, yes. Otherwise, this whole disaster could have been averted, yeah. So it's the next best thing to Dawn of the Dead, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.